Hi, everyone. Steve Finn here at the Center for Therapeutic Assessment in Austin, Texas. Today, I wanted to tell you a brief story about a child and family therapeutic assessment that I did a number of years ago. The identified patient was a 7-year-old boy named Michael, and he was referred by his pediatrician because of persistent enuresis. Um, Initially, I met the parents and nice Catholic, somewhat conservative family, hardworking attorneys, both of them. And they told me the story that Michael had at one point stopped wetting the bed when he was about 3.5 or 4 years old. And then when he was a little over 5, he had started wetting the bed again. They had seen their pediatrician. They had tried the bell and pad mechanism. They had tried medication. But if anything, the enuresis just increased. And at the time of the assessment, it was happening almost every night. And so the pediatrician had suggested they get a therapeutic assessment, and they came. Their main two questions for the assessment were, um, what's causing the enuresis and how to stop it? And second, they asked, how could we toughen Michael up? They felt that he was overly sensitive, cried easily, and they were worried that as life got, harder, that he wasn't going to be resilient enough to be able to handle it easily. So those were their questions. Michael engaged very easily with me at the beginning of the assessment. Early on, I gave him the Rorschach, which confirmed that he was a very highly sensitive kid. And there were also signs of, puzzling signs of a lot of negative affect states that he seemed to be carrying that showed up in the Rorschach. And as some of you know, in therapeutic assessment with children, the parents often observe over a video link or behind a two-way mirror or in the corner from the corner of the room. And Michael's parents watched as I did another task with him, which is one developed by my colleague and good friend, Dr. Leonard Handler, the late Dr. Handler, and is called the fantasy animal drawing. And you ask the child to draw a made-up animal that no one has ever seen, and they draw that. And then you ask them to give it a name. And then you engage in a mutual storytelling task. And Michael did this with me while the parents were watching. And I want to read you his story. Actually, let me also show you his drawing. This is his drawing, and he said, "This is a triple-hearted Salamasaurus. It has 3 hearts, and its job is to have feelings for other people who are too busy and don't want them. They can pay him, and he'll feel things for them, so they can keep on working." The end. I said, "Good job," and I asked him if we could keep the story going a little bit longer. And the following interchange occurred. Me, once upon a time, there was a triple-hearted Salamasaurus who busy people could pay to feel things for them. This helped them to keep working without being bothered by troublesome feelings. One day, I gestured to him. Michael said, one day a group of people asked him if they could pay him because they were sad and they needed to work, and they couldn't work if they were sad. He said yes, and they gave him $5, and he felt sad for them. But then he got too sad and had to stop because his hearts were sick. But he felt really bad because he had already spent the $5. I interjected, the Salamasaurus didn't know what to do. The people had already paid him and he wanted to feel sad for them so they could work, but his hearts were sick and he couldn't do it anymore. He thought about giving the people back their money, but he had already spent it and he didn't know what to do. So he thought and thought about what to do. And then, Michael, he went to the people and told them he had already spent the money and they were mad at him. And then his hearts felt more sick and he had to go to the doctor. The end. So that was Michael's story. And the parents were watching, and Michael was able to go in the waiting room after this and read a book, Bright Boy. And I talked to them, and they were quite struck by the story. And we sort of puzzled about what it could mean together. And they got that Michael might think they were mad at him because they were kind of frustrated by his sensitivity and by the enuresis. But as we sort of sat together thinking what the rest of the story could mean, gradually it came out that Michael's maternal uncle had died just about the time he was 5. I remember I had asked them if anything significant had occurred, and they had not remembered to tell me this. And it turned out this was an uncle who Michael had been really quite close to, who had been his main caregiver when he was 1 to 2 years old. The parents had been working, and the uncle worked for himself and worked from home. And he took over Michael's care when Michael was very young. And Michael had been very close to him, and they continued to see him after age 2. I think he went to some daycare at that point, but he stayed very close to the uncle. And it turned out a very sad story. The uncle had suddenly gotten ill and gone in the hospital and died within about a week of being in the hospital. And the parents found out that he had AIDS. And they were not aware that he was gay. They were not aware that he had AIDS. He had not shared it with them. And they had been very upset afterwards to learn all this, and in great conflict, I think, because of their Catholicism. And what they had done after the death is just kind of purge the house of any pictures of the uncle or any memorabilia. Apparently, Michael had wanted to go to the funeral when they told him that the uncle had died, and they didn't allow him. They thought he was too young. And so we all realized that Michael seemed to be holding the grief for the whole family, and grief that actually they too also had not processed very well, I think, because of their shame about the way the uncle died. So um, Michael and I, with the parents' permission and their cooperation, we designed a family session as part of the assessment. And it was a memorial, a delayed memorial for the uncle that Michael could come to. And he was delighted to design this with me. He said, there has to be a cake and there has to be a guitar, and we have to sing this song that my uncle used to sing to me, a beautiful song by Fred Small that if I had time, I would sing to you anyway. And Mike insisted that the entire extended family be invited. About 35 people came, and we had the cake and we sang the song. A lot of people cried. And around then, the enuresis stopped and never returned. And this is a case from a number of years ago. I've occasionally run into the parents in Austin. And I know from a couple of years ago, Michael is now a young man, graduated from college, doing very well. And but this has always stuck with me as an example of the power of therapeutic assessment and the power of the fantasy animal drawing. And thanks to Leonard Handler for having developed it and taught it to us. Thank you.